In other news, I know layoffs are top of mind, but there were also some updates this week around, and a question around employee device tracking. So can you share more on employee device tracking? I think the way that it was announced left folks with some...
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about what we're doing. Like Alex just said, going into what makes these AI models great, right? There's basically a few key ingredients. There's getting the research and the architecture good. There's having good infrastructure, which is both the quantity of compute, but like as important, if not more, is also just like how efficiently can you use it? How reliable is it? What is the quality of that? And then the third piece, which is in some ways, it's hard to say that any of these are more important than the other because they're all necessary, is effectively the data and what knowledge it learns. So we're in a phase where basically the AI models learn from watching really smart people do things. And if you're trying to get it to be able to do certain capabilities, having it be able to observe really smart people doing those things is very important. So there are a few examples of where we're trying to do this across the company, because one basic insight and hypothesis that we have is that a lot of data generation across the field is done by these like contract companies. And Alex knows a bunch about this because he ran one before coming here. But in general, the average intelligence of the people who are at this company is significantly higher than the average set of people that you can get to do tasks if you're working through the contract, through these contractors. So if we're trying to teach the models coding, for example, then having people internally build tools that or solve tasks that help teach the model how to code, we think is going to dramatically increase our model's coding ability faster than what others in the industry have the capability to do, who don't have thousands and thousands of extremely strong engineers at their company. So that's one example. Another thing that our system needs to be very good at is using computers. So the way that you get a system to be good at using computers is by having it watch really smart people use computers. So that's basically the essence of what we are trying to do here. We're rolling it out in a way that is like, it's like we're not like actually, no human or anything is like looking at or watching what people are doing on their computers. The content is sort of, stripped out, like as much as is possible. It's like none of the data is being used for like looking at what people are doing or surveillance or performance tracking or anything like that. It's purely just like we are using this to feed a very large amount of content into the AI model so that way it can learn how smart people use computers to accomplish tasks. I think that this is going to be a very big advantage if we can do it. So anyway, that's what we're trying to do. I think that there are going to be probably other things around the company where we basically try to enlist the fact that we have just like a very high quality set of people to teach the AI systems to do different things that we need to get them to be able to do over time. So this probably isn't the last thing like this. But I think this is like an interesting strategy. I think that we want to see how well it does. At this point, it's somewhat of a hypothesis. We'll actually be able to complete the loop to see how well these kinds of things actually improve it. If they don't, we won't do more things like it. If they do, then we'll probably do more things like it. So I think that's kind of the basic thing. In terms of how we communicate about this, I mean, this stuff is tricky. I think I think like when I was looking through the details of this, there's like all these things that we could have done better. So yes, I acknowledged, and we'll try to improve this. The kind of core tension on this is that we want to communicate as clearly as possible about what we're doing, while not having all of the details of things that we think are going to be strategically differentiating leak immediately to competitors. And so I think part of the challenge is like, we are a pretty big company. If we post stuff publicly, it leaks. Some things matter more if they leak than others, right? Like if we're building something in our ad system, for example, or our infrastructure that's like bespoke to us and it's not something that other people are going to copy and it leaks, it's like not that big of a deal, right? Maybe it's kind of annoying. I think we know that AI is like one of the most competitive fields, right? And like probably in history. So anything that can give us, that can make the quality of our thing better, is generally not something that I think it is in our strategic interest as a company to lay out the details in a lot of detail, knowing the physics of the situation is that stuff is going to leak. So I think you will have to, we're just going to have to navigate that. And it's going to be a little bit different on a thing-by-thing basis in terms of how we communicate. But I actually think it is like not strategically in your interest for us to communicate everything like in all the detail that we normally would on this. But I think we do need to try to make sure that we get this right and communicate enough so that people understand what's going on. So this, I think, will be a continued thing that we're trying to navigate. It's part of the complexity of trying, how do we navigate running the company through what is just this incredibly dynamic period. I think that there's like lots of things that I think people would like more certainty on than we have, lots of things that people would like more details on, that it's not necessarily like, it's not that it's bad for any one person to know, but it is bad if it leaks. And I don't know how we exactly navigate that. So that's the basic situation on that.